Chapter 1. What's healthy thinking, and why does it matter? It's likely that at many points in your life, you've wished that maybe you had a better, more positive outlook on things. This is a great example of wishful thinking, mentally scolding yourself, but not doing anything to actively change or negate those habits you so detest. That's a thinking trap, a classic one, which we'll discuss later on. At any rate, before we get into the concepts of thinking traps and how healthy thinking affects different kinds of people, we have to first ask the question, what even is healthy thinking? Sure, we can piece together what it means in the literal sense. Healthy thinking is to think in a way that's healthy. But what does that mean in the context of our self-doubt, our pessimism, which for some is like a parasite they can't quite seem to get rid of? Leeching off their energy and what would be their enthusiasm, pessimistic thinking is the leading cause of unhealthy thinking. Whether that pessimism is unintentional or purposeful, pessimism in and of itself can be a tricky and complex topic to cover, one which we'll tackle later with thinking traps and where they come from. What healthy thinking is, to be more specific, is the process of clearing your thoughts of reasoning that is bolstered by emotion. Thinking that is only emotional and not at all rational, and focusing on the reality of a situation at hand. If that reality means you have to look at something in a negative light, then so be it, as long as that perspective is objectively accurate as possible. As humans, we have this kind of compulsion for the objective to be as honest and as correct as possible whenever we can be. That being said, you have to understand while undertaking the mission of becoming a healthier thinker that you can never be truly objective. Although we would love to think that we can become the ultimate objective authority, our experiences are shaped by our past and our memories, as well as our genetics to an extent. And so, therefore, no matter how objective and realistic we attempt to be, there will always be a bit of our outlook that will lean in favor of one thing or another because of our individual tastes and past experiences. That isn't to say that the ventures to be more objective and realistic is fruitless, of course. If you were to live your life clouded by your emotions only, just moving through life and spur after spur of the moment, simply acting on the whim of your feelings, you would likely live an unfulfilling life. Living your life led only by rationale will also likely lead to a similar ending, so the best course is, like many things, the middle road between those two extremes. It's difficult not to be pulled slightly in one way or another, and to err to the side of emotion or rationale is inevitable. But what matters is the attempt to be neutral as possible, given your situation. However, also remember that the purpose of trying to remain neutral isn't so that you can be neutral and apathetic toward things. The point of trying not to be swayed by intense emotion or rationale is making you happier and more fulfilled as a person. What healthy thinking also means is recognizing the flaws in your way of thinking and correcting those faults while balancing humility and confidence. Having flaws in your thinking pointed out to you enthusiastically can be disheartening at times, but it's the growth that comes after that criticism that matters more than the criticism itself. It's the commitment to evolving and becoming a better person that far exceeds whatever shame you might feel when you are critiqued. It's difficult, yes, but it helps much more than it hurts. Now another question arises from the first. Sure, healthy thinking is trying to become a more neutral person for the sake of inner peace, but why does that matter to any individual? If I feel that I'm positive enough as it is, why should I care about healthy thinking? For one thing, if you believe your way of thinking is perfectly healthy and neutral as is, you probably wouldn't be reading this book at all. However, there is also an issue that comes with positivity. As I said, with many things, the best road is the one placed in the middle of the two extremes. On one hand, we often discuss how damaging pessimism can be to the ego and to the self as a whole, but a subject not nearly as discussed is the dangers of being too optimistic. This is also a subject we'll touch on in later chapters, but for now, keep in mind that any extreme in this context is likely one that will damage you emotionally in the long run. At any rate, why does healthy thinking matter?